What is up, everybody? It's your boy Duty back again with another video, and it's that time of the week, folks, where we do a deep dive financial audit of DSP Gaming and DSP Reacts. And we do this for several reasons. One, to ensure Phil has enough money for the day off, and two, to make sure that the business is on solid footing, folks. And spoiler alert, the business is not on solid footing. Our boy Phil had a pretty bad week this week, and it just has been an ongoing issue all year, but it's mainly escalated since May, and it's getting worse and worse. And I know Phil will try to explain and say that it's due to the summer or it's due to no new games, but of course we know that isn't true. Phil had 4 new games this summer, 4 big blockbuster games that were very good and popular, and Phil just could not capitalize on those releases. Of course, you know, Phil sat back and just complained about these lengthy RPGs and how they did not contain meaningful content. So of course, Phil is going to pay for that attitude. So let's take a look at the financial data for the work week. So you guys know Phil had a short work week this week. It was only 5 days. So the dents weren't made to suffer too long. Last week was 8 days. So of course, you know, our dear cult leader gave us a reprieve this week. So shorter days, which means less tips. But if you look at it overall, averaged out daily, the numbers look very bad. So the work week started on 8/19 and stretched to 8/23/2023, so 5 days. And if we look at the tips for the business, and of course we just look at tips and super chats for both DSP Gaming and DSP Reacts, you can see that Phil pulled in an abysmal $510 for the work week in tips, compared to last week, which is about close to $1,100. But again, he had 8 days versus 5. So if you average it out daily, Phil's making roughly about $120 in tips for each day, which for Phil is pretty bad, especially when he averages roughly between $175 and $200 per day. So he's essentially getting half of the normal tip amounts that he's getting. Now for super chats, he did even worse. For the work week for super chats, Phil pulled in $270, which is, yeah, that's pretty bad. And if it wasn't for that one day on the 20th of $91 in super chats, it would have been significantly worse. And if you compare that to last week, Phil pulled in $513 for super chats, so nearly half the amount. And yeah, it's only 5 days, but again, he streamed 8 days last week, so he's missing 3 days. So if you average it out, it's still pretty bad. It looks bad, especially compared to previous weeks where he streamed 6 days and averaged roughly about $600 in tips and averaged about $300 in super chat. So yeah, it's not good for Phil. So if you combine the tips and the super chat totals, Phil walked away with $780. Now I get this question a lot in the comment section, so I might as well just say it here. These are gross numbers, so these are just raw numbers that Phil received. This does not subtract taxes, YouTube's cut, or PayPal's percentage that they receive. So again, these are gross numbers, but I work in gross numbers because taxes are unavoidable, fees are unavoidable. Those are things that you have to pay, and that is, of course, the cost of running a business. So Phil here, if you subtract, you know, the YouTube, the PayPal, and the taxes, it's pretty bad for Phil. So this week, I'm pretty sure that Phil won't even have enough money to make ham sandwiches. He's gonna have to have just peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's right, folks. I think our boy Phil's gonna have to go out to the dollar store, buy himself a big container of peanut butter, some jelly, and then get a loaf of bread and have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for most of the week. Either that or hot dogs. We all know that Phil's go-to lately has been turkey hot dogs. So I envision a lot of hot dogs and a lot of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And the interesting thing here is that I went out yesterday to Twitter to check out TJ Gamebox's channel to see if there's anything going on with Phil and WWE Champions, and it's been mighty quiet. I know the other day he ended up spending close to about $400 on WWE Champions. His rank was like 70 something. He's down pretty bad on WWE Champions. You can tell that he's not playing it as much as he wants, or he is playing it and just doesn't have the monies to spend on the pools. So his ranking is pretty bad, and we all know WWE Champions are just one of those games that if you're not pumping money into it, you're gonna be a plebe in that game. So I'm pretty sure Phil will find some money somewhere. Maybe he'll take a cut of his YouTube check and make sure that Scopely gets their pound of flesh for the week. So keep an eye on that. I envision him probably playing Friday or Saturday. He just can't help himself. There's only but so many days that he can sit there and watch his rank in WWE Champions just tank. He'll find some money somewhere to play WWE Champions. Alrighty, folks. So again, if you compare this week's numbers to last week's numbers, it's pretty bad. I mean, he got half of the support. So Phil better hope that Starfield will save the channel. I mean, I know that he's counting on Starfield to be the next big release. And now he's even hyping Armored Core. If you actually listen to him a little bit, he's trying to hype up Armored Core. But we know that he's terrible at mech games. He's going to get frustrated. He's going to play it crappy, and he's going to get bored. He's going to, like Phil loves to say, it's not fun. He'll play it a couple streams, and yet again, the enthusiasm that Phil shows for the game, or lack of it, will translate into low support. But we'll see. That's next week. We'll see how that goes. Well, actually, that starts Friday and the week after, so it should be very interesting. So let's now look at the yearly totals for DSP Gaming and DSP React. So far this year, Phil is working. Yes, the work year has expanded almost 8 months, and as you can see here, Phil has pulled in $36,801 in tips so far this year, compared to $42,561 in tips last year for the same period, for a negative result of 14%. So he has made 14% less in tips this year for the same period over last year, and it's pretty bad. I mean, he like I said, he's running out of time to get that number close, to get his numbers on par to what he made last year. And it's going to be rough. He better hope that some big games come out this year and that he sees a lot of support. Maybe he'll have to play Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and hope that the bounties come back, and that he'll make some money and can make up some ground here. Also for Super Chat for that time for 2023, Phil has pulled in $14,774. Compare that to last year, where he pulled in $17,171 for a negative of 14% as well. So again, he's made 14% less Super Chats year over year. Now, if we look at the grand totals for Super Chats and tips, Phil has pulled in $51,575. And again, this doesn't include memberships, ad revenue, Patreon. It doesn't include this. This is simply just tips and Super Chats. So he's made $51,575. And you compare to what he made last year for the same time period, he made $59,723. So he is down negative 14% overall. So for his grand total, Phil is down negative 14%. I'm not sure how he's going to be able to make enough money in the next 4 months to close that gap. He may make it close, but again, Phil's business, as he loves to call it, the purpose of a business, of course, is to always excel. It's to make more money quarter over quarter, month over month, and year over year. And if Phil was honestly a business, where people invested, bought stock or whatever, Phil would be one of those companies where you just sell. It's just a dying company. So that's all I really have to say. This week, no, I'm sorry, Phil will not have enough for ham sandwiches. He'll be relegated to peanut butter and jelly sandwiches this week. Hopefully Armored Core will save the channel, and then Starfield next, but we'll see. It doesn't seem like anything has worked this year, and I don't expect either Starfield or Armored Core to save the channel, but we'll see. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.